Trump argues judge preventing him from using defense. His own lawyers declined to use Fox News anchor to Alina Habba. Biden not responsible for Trump trial. Trump as hush money jury deliberates. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. Trump rips De Niro after actor's appearance outside courthouse. Scaramucci. Trump preparing himself mentally for guilty plea. Trump mulls Elon Musk as policy advisor in bid for White House return. Report, are you with me? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris launch black voter outreach and warn of a second Trump term. Jury ends first day of deliberations in Trump trial without a verdict. VP Harris to address U.S. Air Force Academy graduates. U.S. is the lone holdout in push to let struggling Ukraine strike inside Russia with Western weapons. Who emergencies team faces funding crunch as health crises multiply. Spain approves Catalan amnesty bill set to define PM's term. China Xi Jinping calls for peace conference and justice over war in Gaza as Arab leaders visit Beijing. The nation's top hurricane forecaster has 5 warnings as dangerous hurricane season starts. Opinion. Dear American voter, you should care what the rest of the world thinks. Biden opposition leaves House bill hitting ICC in limbo. FAFSA, job market pose major challenges for colleges. Despite enrollment gains, colleges have seen a recent uptick in enrollment, but a variety of factors, from changes in the employment market to this year's free application for federal student aid mess, mean the signs of hope could be short-lived. Next breaking news. Alito rejects calls to recuse himself from January 6 cases over flags controversy. Justice Samuel Alito told lawmakers on Wednesday that he will not recuse himself from upcoming cases related to the 2020 election and the January 6, 2021, Capitol riot after it was reported that flags connected to the Stop the Steal effort were flown outside his homes. Next breaking news. Biden administration won't confirm reports Israel used U.S. weapons in Rafah strike. The Biden administration on Wednesday refused to confirm Israel used U.S. bombs in the deadly strike over the weekend that killed dozens of displaced Palestinians at a camp in Rafah. Next breaking news. H5N1 bird flu found in alpacas for first time. Bird flu has been found in alpacas for the first time, marking the latest spread of the current H5N1 bird flu virus, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced Tuesday. Next breaking news. Fox Media. The Atlantic Inc. deals with OpenAI. A pair of leading digital publishers are partnering with OpenAI and Microsoft on a deal that will allow the tech firm to use their content. Next breaking news. The U.S. faces a deadly maternal mental health crisis, and it may be getting worse. Pregnant women and new mothers are facing a deadly mental health crisis across the United States. Next breaking news. 2.2 Americans over 55 still have student loan debt. Report millions of Americans older than 55 have yet to clear their student loan debt, according to the Federal Reserve Board's 2022 survey of consumer finances released Wednesday. Next breaking news. Chinese man arrested for allegedly running largest ever malware network. Authorities in the United States have announced the dismantling of a global network of 19 million infected computers used to facilitate and cover up cybercrimes including fraud, identity theft, and child exploitation. Next breaking news. Israel cannot win Gaza war without day after plan. Blinken warns the United States has once again issued a strong warning to Israel over its lack of a post-war strategy for Gaza, leaving open questions about how the territory will be governed and stabilized. Next breaking news. What is all eyes on Rafah? Decoding a viral social trend on Israel's war and image with the text "All Eyes on Rafah" is on every other Instagram story, dominating social media discourse on Israel's war on Gaza. Next breaking news. Sweden announces $1.23 billion military aid for Ukraine as Blinken visits Moldova. The Swedish government says it will donate 13 billion kronor in military assistance to Ukraine as Kyiv struggles with multiple delays of vital Western military aid in the third year of Russia's full-scale invasion. Next breaking news. Colombia lawmakers pass bullfighting ban. Lawmakers passed the bill 93-2 on Tuesday. Activists have spent many years seeking to prohibit the controversial blood sport, which is a centuries-old colonial tradition in the country. Next breaking news. Boeing will try again to launch astronauts on its spaceship this weekend. Boeing is gearing up for yet another attempt to launch NASA astronauts on board its Starliner spacecraft. Next breaking news. Virginia mom says white students told her Asian American son to sit at segregated table. An after-school game took a troubling turn last week at Lyle's Crotch Traditional Academy in Alexandria, Virginia. Next breaking news. More than 450 sue Archdiocese of Baltimore over sexual abuse ahead of deadline. Baltimore. More than 450 people have sued the Archdiocese of Baltimore over sexual abuse claims ahead of the deadline, according to our media partner the Baltimore Banner. Next breaking news: hacking group claims it breached Ticketmaster and stole data for 560 million customers. A hacking group claims it breached global events giant Ticketmaster and stole the details of 560 million customers. Next breaking news: nurse fired for calling Gaza war genocide. While accepting Compassion Award, a nurse was fired by a New York City hospital after she referred to Israel's war in Gaza as a genocide during a speech accepting an award. Next breaking news: feds take down one of world's largest malicious botnets and arrest its administrator. Washington, federal investigators took down one of the world's largest malicious botnets, one that helped generate tens of thousands of fraudulent transactions that cost victims billions, including many related to COVID relief funding. Next breaking news: some companies plan to increase return-to-office requirements. Despite risk of losing talent, a quarter of U.S. companies will require its workers to show up at the office more often next year, even though doing so may cause some productive staff members to leave. Next breaking news: Nissan issues urgent warning over exploding Takata airbag inflators on 84,000 older vehicles. Nissan is urging the owners of about 84,000 older vehicles to stop driving them because their Takata airbag inflators have an increased risk of exploding in a crash and hurling dangerous metal fragments. Next breaking news: Apple to add Japan's My Number ID card function to iPhone. Japan official Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida held a video conference with Apple CEO Tim Cook on Thursday, and they agreed to put Japan's My Number identification card functions onto iPhones, Japan's top government spokesperson said. Next breaking news: BlackRock's ETF becomes largest Bitcoin fund in world. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust has become the world's largest fund for the world's largest cryptocurrency, racking up nearly $20 billion in total assets since listing in the U.S. in January, Bloomberg News reported on Wednesday. Next breaking news: South Korea plans Mars landing in 2045 as it launches first space agency. South Korea plans to make a Mars landing by 2045 and spend $100 trillion until then on space exploration, President Yoon Suk-yeol said on Thursday at the launch of the country's first space agency. Next breaking news: Google to invest $2 billion in Malaysian data center and cloud hub. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Google plans to invest $2 billion in Malaysia, developing its first data center and a Google Cloud Hub in the latest big foray by a U.S. tech giant in the Southeast Asian country. Next breaking news: after nation's first nitrogen gas execution, Alabama set to give man lethal injection for 2 slayings. Montgomery, Alabama is set to execute a man Thursday evening who was convicted of bludgeoning an elderly couple to death 20 years ago to steal prescription drugs and $140 from their home. Next breaking news: U.S. nears deal to fund Moderna's bird flu vaccine trial, FT reports. The U.S. government is nearing an agreement to fund a late-stage trial of Moderna's mRNA pandemic bird flu vaccine, the Financial Times reported on Thursday, as an H5N1 outbreak spreads through egg farms and among cattle herds. Next breaking news: Indian space startup Agnikul launches country's second privately built rocket. Bengaluru, India's Agnikul Cosmos launched its Agniban rocket for the first time on Thursday, powered by the only Indian rocket engine to use both gas and liquid fuel in the country's second flight of a privately built rocket. Next breaking news: U.S. Coast Guard offloads $468 million worth of confiscated cocaine. The U.S. Coast Guard announced it had unloaded a hefty quantity of confiscated cocaine in San Diego, California that was worth an estimated $468 million. Next breaking news: Alito tells lawmakers he will not recuse from Supreme Court cases despite flag controversy. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito told lawmakers in a letter Wednesday that he will not recuse from cases involving the 2020 presidential election or the January 6, 2021, U.S. Capitol riot despite concerns about 2 controversial flags that have flown on his properties. Next breaking news: judge rules duct tape found on Laci Peterson can be retested as Scott Peterson seeks new murder trial after lawyers argued for new DNA testing in the murder case against Scott Peterson. A California judge ruled Wednesday that only retesting of DNA on duct tape that adhered to his wife Laci Peterson's pants will be permitted, while testing of other new and prior evidence in the decades-old case will not be allowed. Next breaking news: Australian state appoints official for men's behaviour change as outcry over violence against women grows as Australian women push for action on domestic violence, a problem described by the country's Prime Minister as a national crisis. One state has appointed a special official charged with improving men's behaviour. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for getting latest update of United States, trending news and top stories about USA.